Coming up next is Dr. Kimberly Taylor. You can listen live on the internet at drkimtaylorshow.com. Here now is Dr. Kimberly Taylor.
I want to welcome you to the 1-year anniversary of the Dr. Kim Taylor Show. Oh my, how time flies. And this year has been no exception. So today what I want to do is just stop and take a moment to reflect on where we've been. It was a little over a year ago that I stepped out of my comfort zone and sat down behind this microphone. And I can remember thinking, what the heck are you doing, Kimberly? There was a part of me that was excited to start this new adventure. But there was another part of me that was going, are you crazy? But really, my intent was to not only challenge myself, but to also try to be of greater service in helping others. And that intent still holds. My purpose in starting this talk radio program was first to be able to provide a forum for people to talk about their own experiences and to share their concerns in life. And in doing so, to receive help and then allow others listening to be helped in the process. The second intent was to provide a public service to the community and to help educate, enlighten, and inspire. I love those words. Educate, enlighten, and inspire. And to help others to reach their fullest potential and to initiate just a more open conversation to improve the services available for people with emotional problems. And the third intent was to help remove the stigma that has long been associated with mental and emotional issues. The mind and body are connected, and in this new age, we really can no longer see them as separate entities. We should be treating the disorders of the mind as we do any other disorder of the body, with dignity, respect, and with our fullest understanding and empathy. So there have been some that have asked, why would I put myself out there and take on this task? Well, I remember listening to an interview with Nora Ephron. She's the great writer, director, and producer. And she was saying that she reinvented herself every 10 years as a way to feel alive and excited about her life. It's so easy for all of us to get stuck in our own routine and to do what we have always done, or to stay in our comfort zones and not stir things up by tossing caution to the wind. But that's just what I have done. And a year ago, I started this process. And now, 52 shows later, it's nice to look back and see where we have been. So what I want you to do is just sit back today and enjoy this program. It's for you. And I will be right back after this break to get things started. I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290. Welcome back. I'm here with Sandy Jacoy, my screener, who's been with me for this last year and has been such a great support behind the scenes for me. I don't think I could have done this without you.
I think you could have. I definitely think you could have. It has been my honor and privilege, though, to work alongside of you and to watch how you have grown this show here on this anniversary show. I cannot believe it's been a year.
It's been a year.
I cannot believe. If the audience out there could see the notebooks, the binders full of information and research and preparation that you've put into, that has gone into this show, I think it really speaks to your dedication and commitment that you have put forth in this venture.
Well, thank you.
And I'm proud of you. So this show we're going to do, I know we're going to get to hear some calls that you have set aside that have been very interesting to you, that we're really going to get an insight into the mind of a psychologist and see what was important to you. So I am really looking forward to that and being able to pick your brain about some of these things.
Well, what I've done is I've picked out some calls that had certain topics because I thought they were very important, and a lot of people have a lot of these issues, and I think by going back through them, we're going to really highlight some of the reasons why I think this show is important and why I think it's important that we keep the conversation going.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so let's start out with Katie. She was worrying so much about what other people thought about her, to the point that she was paralyzed. She was so fearful of doing anything because she couldn't stop thinking about what other people were thinking about her.
I remember Katie.
Hi. I have a lot of anxiety in social situations. If I'm like around like a group of maybe 3 or more people, I feel really like nervous and anxious, and I can't be around them. I feel like they're like judging everything I do or say, and I feel like I can't speak if I'm with more than like 3 or 4 people, even if I know all of them.
Okay. And when did this first start?
It's been like that for like a while. Like I've always been really shy, and just like I feel like it's been getting worse. Like I don't like talking on the phone. I don't like ordering. Like I don't even like really ordering at restaurants. If I have more than a one-word thing to order, I can't even order it because I get so nervous.
Okay. And what are the thoughts you have when you think about ordering or being on the phone? What is that little voice in your head saying to you?
I just feel like the person I'm speaking to is like judging what I'm saying or what I'm ordering, or like I'm going to annoy them, but they're going to think I'm like stupid for like whatever I'm saying.
Okay. So what if they were to judge you? What if they thought you were stupid?
Yeah, I know. That's what everyone like says to me, and like, what do you care if they think? But I just can't. Like, I know that it's stupid that I think this. I just can't.
Okay, but what do you think would happen to you if they did judge you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. So even if they said it or thought it, do you think you would survive?
Yeah.
So, Kim, what was it about this call that made you pick this for your show today?
Well, you can just hear in her voice just the angst that she has about doing anything in her life. And if I've said this once, let me just say it 100 more times. What other people think about you, it's none of your business, number one. But if you have to think about it, think about this. Most of the time, like let's say 98.5% of the time, who people are thinking about is
themselves.
That's
yes.
right. And so they have very little time to really think about you. And what's more important is you need to focus on what do you think about yourself. Because if you're proud of what you do and how you are, then it's going to matter a whole lot less what other people think about you. The only way you get past that is to face your fear, challenge yourself, build that emotional muscle, and do it anyway.
I have a call that I picked from Mary. I don't know if you remember Mary, but what I really liked about this call is that it really played into the way that you do therapy and what you talk about, which is personal responsibility and not waiting for other people to change.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to this one. I could relate to Mary.
Okay. Hi, Mary. How can I help you?
My husband does not do what I want him to do when I ask him to change something.
And you think this is new for you?
No, it's not new. It's quite old.
Okay. So, Mary, how long have you been married?
47 years.
Okay. And is this a recent change or is this ongoing?
No, it's ongoing.
Okay. So this is something that you've dealt with for a very long time.
Yes, it is.
And why is it a problem for you now?
It just seems to be bothering me more now.
And why do you think that is?
I want him to change these things, and he doesn't do it.
Okay, so you are and have been waiting and waiting for him to change.
Yes.
And he's just not doing it for you, right?
That's right.
Okay, so what do you think about that, Mary? You think maybe that experiment has failed? It sounds like after 47 years, you might have given it your very best.
I think I have, yes.
Okay, so maybe the answer for him to change is not the answer that's going to work. What would happen if you said something to him and he had a non-response to that? Would that be okay with you?
No.
Why not? Why, Mary, do you need his approval? Right there, right behind that sigh.
I don't know why I need it.
Yes, right behind the I don't know. Why do you need his approval?
important that he would.
Why
agree with
is
me.
it important that he approve you? Why do you need that in order to do what you want to do?
It just feels like it would be right.
Well, it would...
Fair, even.
Oh, so that you wouldn't have to risk him being disappointed or upset.
Yes, perhaps.
That you'd
that's
get
it, yes.
his validation
Before I did anything.
before you did anything. So see, this isn't his problem, Mary. This is yours, needing everybody else's approval in order for you to feel okay.
So, Dr. Kim, I'm wondering, after hearing that call again, is there anything, I'm interested to hear what you're thinking or what you're noticing about that call. I want to get into your head and see what you were thinking as you were working with Mary.
Well, it's really interesting because the first thing that came to mind is that when I first laughed at her problem about trying to change her husband, we've all had that issue about trying to change someone else, but I could tell she was having none of it. She was not happy that I had laughed about that. So I really had to kind of pull back a bit and find a new way to join her in this so I could get her on board and help her see that I was still on her side. I wasn't laughing at her, but I've certainly been in the same spot of trying to change someone else and pulling my hair out because I thought that that was what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this really does tie into my whole concept that nobody else has to change in order for you to get better, because most often if something is bothering you, it's your responsibility to change it. It's not your responsibility to go and make somebody else want it to be different or to see it your way. It's your responsibility to change what's not working for you.
And that doesn't mean that you can't have a hope or an expectation, or maybe that's not the right word, but just a desire for somebody to be approving of you or to be supporting of you. Because in relationship, we always want that for relationships to work, but you're talking about specifically about taking responsibility for what you feel is the right thing to do for you, irrespective of maybe somebody else's support that's important to you.
One of the things that I was thinking about when Mary was talking is my relationship with my husband. When we first got married, I liked my towels folded in the cupboard a certain way. Well, when he was being helpful and he would fold the towels, they weren't in the way that I wanted them to be. And I would get mad and I would say to him, hey, can't you see that the towels need to be folded this way? And he would look at me kind of funny, like a dog would look at you when you're talking to them in a foreign language and say, huh, what? And I realized one day as I was taking out the towels and folding them the way that I liked, hey, this is going to be a long marriage if I can't get past this one point. And that what I did see is that it was going to ruin my relationship with him if I got mad and resentful every time he did something that I didn't like or he did it in a different way. And that in that moment, I really had to see that if I don't like the towels that way, I have to take responsibility for that and fold them in the way that I want. And the truth is, these days, I really don't care how the towels are folded, and I no longer hold it against him. And so that's part of the concept of nobody else has to change in order for you to get better.
Yeah.
I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290. We are back. We're here at the anniversary show, and I'm here with Sandy Jacoy, my screener, and we are talking about a few of the calls that have come in.
Yes, Courtney, she called and was talking about asking questions about whether or not she was being selfish and struggling with being selfish versus self-care. And I am very interested to hear your thought process when you were talking with Courtney. I thought this was a great call.
Actually, I do recall this. It was all about, is it selfish to take care of yourself first?
Yeah.
So let's tune into her call, and then we'll come back and talk about that, because that's a really important topic.
Yes.
Hi, this is Dr. Kim Taylor, and we're on the phone now with Courtney. Hi, Courtney.
Hi.
What's going on today?
I'm calling because I have an issue kind of just finding some time management for myself. I think that I put others ahead of me all the time, and so I have a really hard time just making time for me and kind of promoting my own personal happiness by doing things that make me happy, sometimes ahead of what others are asking of me. And I'm calling to see if you have any advice about some strategies or things that I can think about to put forth in my life to make myself come first in my life sometimes.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What would you actually be doing if you didn't have to do for someone else?
Well, I think right now I'm really in a place where I'm sort of struggling with my weight issues and knowing that I need to be in the gym more often and making time for myself to be alone at the gym, I think, is a huge priority for me. And it's a priority for me on paper. I schedule it for myself in my planner, and I know that I want to do it and should do it. And then when it comes time to do it, there seems to be
someone
all
else,
these other distractions or things that come up.
And probably someone else that gets in the way, that has needs that you feel like you need to go and meet first.
Yes.
So what is the difference between self-care and being selfish? And do you think that possibly the weight issues that she's having has to do with the fact that she is struggling to take care of herself and the resentment?
Yes, and it's her way to emotionally feed herself because she hasn't found a way to set boundaries and take care of herself in a healthy way. So definitely, one of the things that I say, because this happens for a lot of women, especially, men too, but especially women.
What are you talking about?
That selfishness is really all about not doing what you want and not expressing what your needs are, but expecting everybody else to know what they are and waiting for them to take care of you. That's real selfishness. But what I describe as selflessness, or really taking care of yourself first, is that it's really the gift that we give to others, to be responsible for our own needs and not expect others to take care of us and to be able to read our minds.
Yeah.
That's the switch that we need to be able to make, because if you're not doing that, then what you're giving, it's no present for anybody else.
Right. It's given with an agenda and some bitterness behind it.
Yes, and one of the main points is if you do ignore the importance of your own needs, then it's just too easy for everybody else to ignore those too.
I like that. And it almost sets people up to some degree to be a victim, if you will.
Yes.
So next to him, we have Bob, who called in and wanted some input about his relationship with his narcissistic mother.
Oh, yes. And the guilt that he had about not wanting to spend time with her, and what was he going to do with that?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to that call. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Doctor. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Good. I appreciate you taking time to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the question I have is, I finally came to terms that I have a narcissistic mother. And I guess the question I would have for you is, how do I deal with this going forward about not having her in my life? I've kind of cut off all communication with her. And also, obviously, there's some guilt, too.
So part of the reason why you did end contact is because it just got too hard? She was too demanding?
Right. I would say too controlling.
Too controlling. Okay. And do you have any contact with her now?
No.
Okay. But you're talking about
I mean, she'll leave a message. She'll call and leave a message, and does not understand why I would be upset with her. And other people in my life that have expressed to her some of the reasons, she dismisses them immediately.
Okay. And have you had the conversation with her about why you have broken off contact with her?
In the past, I did this once before, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and, she's just extremely dismissive. She sees no merit in I think that's part of the whole process. They're in denial. She's narcissistic. She doesn't think about other people's feelings. Mm-hmm. And so, to her, she's just, I think she's upset that she still can't, have control on me.
So what you mentioned is the guilt. You're feeling guilty because you've had to break contact with her because she's too difficult to be around.
Correct. And let me just preface this, that my sister has not spoke to her in 5 years.
Oh, my goodness. So do you think that maybe what's going on with Bob is the reason why he's guilty is because his sister got to cut contact and somebody's got to be the one that does it?
Well, that could be part of it. But what I have to say to you is that a narcissistic parent is so good at instilling guilt in anyone because the whole world revolves around them. And so they think that you should be doing things in order to please them. And this is in epidemic form these days. We have so many narcissistic people and parents. And the impact of the children is absolutely devastating because what happens is that the child's needs are not met because they're so in tune to trying to meet the needs of the parent. And what they end up feeling is that they're never good enough.
It's like they lose their identity in meeting the needs of the narcissistic parent.
It is swallowed up. And absolutely. So this actually led me to doing a whole show on the topic of narcissistic parents. And I had on Tina Fuller. She actually grew up with a narcissistic mother. And she wrote this very, very touching book about her experience and how she got out of it. Because it is a huge struggle for people to get out of it and to not have that guilt that keeps them tied into someone who is so toxic for them and will suck them dry.
Suck the life out of them.
Absolutely. So her book, I just want to mention, is It's My Turn. And it is a great book for anyone who is needing to, let go of the strings attached and to remove themselves from this and to give themselves permission to live their life in the way they'd like to instead of the life that's being dictated by this parent.
Okay, so I want to know what was the strangest call you've ever had to take. And I'm really curious as to what was on your mind when you were talking with that call.
This call, without a doubt, has to be with Jean. And she kind of set it up for me in just saying that no one has been able to help me. It's been a long-standing problem. And my antenna just goes up because that's why I'm here. I want to help people. So I was definitely revved up for this call. And so I think first what we should do is first hear her, and then I'll come back and tell you exactly what I was thinking during this call. Okay. This is Dr. Taylor, and we're on the phone now with Jean. Welcome to the program.
Hello. I have a long-standing problem, and I'm not sure you can help me with it because I've tried. I've turned everywhere in the world, and nothing seems to be able to help it.
Okay, what's going on?
It's a neighbor. It's a bad neighbor, and I live in like a complex of tract homes. They're close to tract homes that are 50 feet apart from each other. And his house is on the side of the wind, and it blows his smoke into my house, and it's illegal smoke. It's illegal drug smoke of all different kinds, very bad smelling, and some of it is really makes me feel sick. And I have called the police, but he seems to know how to stop when the police get there, so the police can't smell anything. And the police have been helping me the last year, 2 or 3, but it still goes. My problem is I'm woken up every night 2 or 3 or 4 times a night by methamphetamine, heroin, crack cocaine, and things I don't know. Some smell like BM. They're just really horrible smelling things.
Okay. Jean, do you have your windows open?
No, there's nothing open but the attic openings, 4 or 5 places around the top of the house.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have?
And I've talked to the fire department. They say you can't close those.
Okay. And do you have other neighbors who are bothered by this also? I
don't think so. The newest neighbors that are right next to me said that they can't smell it. Mm-hmm. But they walk about 20 miles a day and they sleep very soundly. Mm-hmm. But no, I haven't heard anybody else say that they complained about it.
Are there other people who live in the house with you?
No.
So you are the only person there?
They used to be, but they passed away. And
you have called the police, you've called the fire department, so you've done all that you could about trying to get help with this.
Poor Jean. This was very difficult for her, I'm sure. And you know what I really appreciated about this, Kim, is that you were persistent in addressing her concerns and teasing out the reality. But I was so impressed by the way you handled her. I know you had a different experience of it because I can see it on your face right now.
I went round and round with her because I really wanted to, weed out what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was really clear that this is actually just happening with her. No one else had smelled this, and no one else that she had called to come and smell it had ever smelled it.
Fire department, police.
No one. So
Yeah.
first off, what I did want to tell her was that she's not crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and that what she was experiencing was a medical issue. And this medical issue is called phantom smell. And there's a fancy word for that. It's called phantasmia. And it is where someone smells smells that are not there, but they're foul smells, really foul smells. And she was describing all of that. And one of the things that she had said is that she had also been suffering with grief because her mother had just died. And so that's something that can bring this on also. So I went round and round with her, and I really was very calm, and I told her, this is what it is.
How'd she do with that?
She wouldn't believe it. She said, no, I was wrong, that it had to be something more, that she couldn't believe that was it. And so no matter what I tried to say was just try to convince her to at least go and see an ear, nose, and throat doctor and to run this by them and see what they had said, because there are things that they can do to fix this. And the truth is it is a pretty common problem.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what I have to say is what I did, I was so bothered by this because I knew this was the answer.
She just was not going to receive it from you.
Absolutely not. And so I called her after the program just to go through that with her again and to just ask her that, let's just rule this out. If you would like, go back to your doctor, tell them what you have just told me, and just have them run some tests on you and see if that will help. And she thanked me very kindly, but I knew absolutely that she was not going to do that. I think it just proves, too, that you can only help those that want help and that are open to it. And, of course, as a therapist, we learn this day in and day out, that we can be the best therapist in the world. But unless somebody is there wanting to receive your help, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290. I'm here with Sandy Jacoy, and we are reviewing some of the calls that we've had this past year.
So next up we have Terry. Do you remember her? She was the one who called in because she had been told at the company Christmas party that she was going to lose her job.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? Isn't that awesome? Merry Christmas, Terry. And she was feeling really, really bad about herself and was calling you to find out what she was going to do to kind of process that out.
And my heart went out to her because you feel so bad for her to do that. But we had to find a way in order to change how she was thinking about this whole thing in order to get her moving forward. So let's listen to the call now. Okay, we're on the phone now with Terry. Hi, Terry. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Taylor. The reason I'm calling today is I recently got laid off, and I've been at my company 6 years, and I'm just extremely scared, overwhelmed, and just overtaken with fear that I'm not going to be able to find anything.
Mm-hmm. And what makes you think you won't find something?
Basically, I've worked with people for years that are looking for employment, and that's kind of what my skill set is to help them. So I think part of it is just I see the economy. I see how long it's taking some people a year or more to find anything, and I'm just really scared. I feel like I'm doing all the footwork, like I'm applying online, I'm calling people and everything, but so far I haven't gotten any calls, and I'm just really scared that, I'll end up with looking and looking and looking, and it just seems so stressful.
Okay, you've said 3 times so far that you're really, really scared.
Yes.
Okay. That's going to be part of your process. Of course, part of you is going to be scared. But I also hear this other part of you that is doing the homework, making the calls, doing the resumes, making contacts, right?
Right.
And how long have you been looking now?
Only a couple weeks.
Only a couple weeks. This is going to come down to how you think about it. Do you have a pen and paper there?
I do.
Okay. This is what I want you to write down. I heard this quote the other day, and I just want you to write it down. Put it at the top of the page. Whatever you do that you're doing within your day, keep this up front so that you can keep going back to it. So write down, if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
Wow. Wow. Okay. It's very powerful. I really have to change the way I'm looking at the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because how you do will determine the outcome.
So what I was thinking there is that for all of us, what we think about ourselves and that message that we have going on in our head all the time, as if it's a ticker tape running at the bottom of the screen, and we keep checking it, and it's this negative feedback over and over about all your doubts and all of your fears. And when you get hooked into that, then that's all that you can see. And if that's all that you can see, then it's going to affect how you think about things, how you feel about things, and then how you act about things. And it also then defines what's going to happen to you. So it's so important to be able to help people to really switch that. And even though that ticker tape is always going to be there, there's also this other part of you that knows that you have skills and talents, that you can take those and that you can go someplace else. And if you just do your work and put one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward, you will find what it is that you're looking for.
I love what Nike says, their slogan of just do it. I like
absolutely.
Just do it. Do it scared, but just do it.
That's right.
And I know that we've had some difficult calls that have come in, some of which have made the air, some of which weren't appropriate for being on the air, but I'm wondering the hardest call was for you to answer and actually walk somebody through their process.
This has to be Jane. Jane actually tracked me down and called me up on my office line and wanted to make sure that she could get into the radio show and that she could set a time to talk to me, because she didn't have a lot of time to talk, but she definitely needed my help. And so it did end up being the most difficult call, I would say, because it's hard to tell people sometimes what they don't want to hear, and to break through all the defenses and all the resistance that they have, and to get them to look at themselves. And I went round and round with Jean. This call lasted 11 minutes. And what I want to do is cut into like the 9th minute here, where I have been trying to get her to hear something, and she refuses to hear.
The longest 9 minutes of your life?
Well, no, because I was going for it, and I really wanted to be able to help her here and to see if we could break through this resistance. She had a daughter who she had been estranged from for years, and she was refusing to take any part in this, and she was only blaming her daughter for this and everyone else about why it happened, and not looking at her part. So here I am, 9 minutes in.
Yes, you have had a troubled young daughter, but you knew her for 17 years. Something terribly went wrong. If you're not able to, if you're not able to get to that part, then I'm not sure that you can do the work that I'm saying to do with her, because she is not going to come to you at this time. You would have to be willing to go to her.
Whatever happened that caused the rift, I am not aware of what it is, and she refuses to speak with me.
And right now, you are more concerned about your hurt feelings and how she has pushed you away than you are about the pain that she has experienced.
When I have, in all honesty, absolutely no idea, that is a very hard thing to discuss.
You keep moving away from and not looking at your part. You want to blame other people, other circumstances. And what happened between you and your daughter was very personal. It's between you and her. It's something that you did, something that you said that could not be resolved with her.
I'm sorry. I think that's I think that's wrong. I think that's an incorrect conclusion.
It's very hard to talk to you. It's very hard to get you to admit anything that you might have done. And that all you want to do is just push it away, and even talking over me. What I am telling you is what it is that you're not looking to yourself. You are not taking responsibility, and you are not accepting that somebody else was impacted by what you did, and therefore they do not want anything to do with you because you will not accept any responsibility for them.
But I did try. I've been trying for years.
Jane, I've tried a number of times to try and reach you, but until you take ownership of this and see what you have done and hold yourself accountable, you have no place to start with your daughter. What I'd like you to do is try to listen back to this call. We are rebroadcast Thursday evenings at 10 and Sundays at noon, and see if you can hear how defensive that you are and how difficult it is to reach you. And if your daughter experiences you in this way, then she feels that you don't understand. So I would have you start there and try and see if you can find within yourself a way to take responsibility for this as a way to start the conversation with your daughter.
Wow. That was tough. That was tough.
Mm-hmm.
You could hear the pain and just the defensiveness in her voice.
Oh, it was all there, and she is so stuck.
She was so invested in being right, like there was something that was protecting her from experience, maybe whatever that would be, the guilt or the shame or the discomfort of maybe having done something. Even if she doesn't feel that it was something that she had done that was wrong, but just not even being able to get to the point of even considering it.
That's right. And that's where she is stuck.
Yeah.
And she will remain stuck until she's willing to look within and to just entertain the idea that what she did had an impact on her daughter. And until she's willing to take responsibility for that, nothing can change. Nothing will be healed. And when you just blame others, you really lose the ability to learn from your experience and therefore your chance to grow and evolve past this.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say you have to take responsibility for whatever it is that you say and do. It doesn't mean you're right or wrong. Just claim it, and then you can start growing again.
Yeah. There were a number of shows that you did for this last year that really touched nerves out there in the community, and the one that you did on healthy versus unhealthy relationships I thought was very, very profound. Got a lot of feedback about that, and also on the heroin addiction piece. But the one that I'm going to bring up that I don't think that you would unless I did it, because that's your humbled heart in that, is the one that you did in the Isla Vista shooting. And I would just love it if you would share with the audience what that show did and how it influenced some things in the community here in Santa Barbara.
Well, I think it was a very important show to do about the aftermath of the shooting that happened out at the campus, and that there were real changes that needed to be made. So we were able to have our state senator, Hannah-Beth Jackson, on, and we really talked about the need that when police go out on a welfare call, they should be able to do a background check and to search within the database prior to going out to find out if they own guns, if they have any guns in their possession. And that would really enable the officers to do a better assessment about what is going on and to assess the dangerousness of whoever it is that they're going to meet. What has happened is Hannah-Beth Jackson has, pushed that through, and there is a state Senate bill out there. I think it's Bill 505.
Wow.
That is being passed out there. So having a conversation, starting the conversation, talking about how important it is to change some of the laws so that we can protect not just the citizens, but also those who are suffering from mental illness.
Yes, and what an influence it had.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll save lives.
That's the hope. So I'm here now also with Les Carroll, who is the station manager here at KZSB. And I know it was over a year ago that I came in here with my little demo tape, and we sat down and we talked about what this show might be. And at some point, you gave me the green light. And as soon as you gave me that green light, I went, holy cow, what did I get myself into? Do I really want to be here? And you were actually great in just helping me through that fear process of taking that next step.
Well, thank you, Kim. The FCC does not permit us to consume alcoholic beverages in the studio. So consequently, we won't be popping the cork on a bottle of fine champagne today. But sitting here listening to today's one-year anniversary show, and hearing some of your thoughts and insights into the calls that you've received over the past year reminds me again what a great advice that you have shared with your callers and listeners. And I would encourage anyone to pick up the phone and call you either during the programs on Thursdays at, of course, 564-1290, or on Sundays between noon and 3 at 699-5821, because it certainly is an excellent opportunity to get put on the path to resolving issues that clearly, as we've heard again today, need to be resolved.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. I've had a lot of fun doing it. I think when I first sat here, my knees definitely were knocking. It was a good thing that I had a chair to sit in. But it has gotten easier, and I just love the fact that people can call up, they can ask questions. There's a lot of people out there that never come to a therapy, but they have a lot of questions. So to be able to ask those, to get some advice, and then for the people who actually are out there hearing them and seeing themselves in that's been great too.
Well, it's got to be very gratifying because, as you just said, there are people that that will never come to therapy. There are people that will never pick up the phone and be live on the radio. But by the same token, those are often the same people who are listening to what you have to say, whether it's with a guest or with a caller, and taking that advice and putting it to work for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for all of your support and for being here every Thursday afternoon when I arrive with a nice hug and a nice kiss, and then you kick me into this room, and here I go.
It's all been my pleasure.
All right, Les, thank you very much. We are going to take our last break right now, and then I'm going to come back with a few final thoughts. I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290. What a day. What a year. I would be very remiss if I did not acknowledge the people who have been here for me this past year and have really given generously of their time and their energy in order to make all of this happen, because I could not have done it on my own. So it is with much gratitude that I give my thanks first to the callers and listeners of this program. You are really the reason that I do this every week, and I hope that you have found value in what has been shared and that this has helped to make your journey here through life just a little easier also. I also want to thank, of course, Sandy Jacoy, my dear friend, screener, and soon-to-be colleague. She has been the kind of friend that whatever I asked, she always says yes. And also to that calming voice that announces my show, George Eskin, thank you for lending your support to me also. Richard Dugan, he's the man behind the scenes here. He's pushes all of the buttons and helps to get us on air. So thank you for your patience with me this year. You have been a great help, and maybe someday, Richard, I will understand all those hand signals that you keep doing back there. Also, I really want to thank Les Carroll. He is a station manager here at KZSB, and he has been a great supporter to me in this venture, and everyone should be lucky enough to have a Les Carroll in their life. And then my coach and mentor, Christopher Bartlett. He's an presenter and announcer on BBC. He has steadfastly believed in me, encouraging, critiquing, pushing, prompting, and helping me to improve my show week after week. So my sincere gratitude to you. And my friends and family, especially my mom, who have encouraged me every step of the way. What can I say? You are just my heart. And lastly, of course, my husband, Stan. I don't think I could have done any of this or even considered doing this without you. So thank you for always being my number one fan. Do you know, for the most part, we all live within our own heads with our own thoughts and our own perceptions about how we see the world working. And the truth is that no one has as much power or influence over us as that voice within our own heads. So what we do say to ourselves and about the world really determines, for the most part, how we're going to feel. And when we can all learn to accept ourselves, both the perfect parts and the imperfect parts, and then choose to come from our highest self, then everything just starts to feel better and you will really start to like yourself. Try to use every experience or situation in your life as just another opportunity to learn something new about yourself. And then you'll be focused on the right thing and have the ability to keep growing and keep evolving. I'm going to be back here again with you next Thursday afternoon between 2 and 3. So, of course, in the meantime, I want you to have a good week, and I want to leave you with this running thought. Nobody else has to change in order for you to get better. This is so true. If you want something to be different, you can change it and stop waiting for somebody else to do it for you. If we want to change things, we must first be willing to look within and change ourselves. As Gandhi said, be the change that you want to see in the world. So go have a good week. I will see you next Thursday where once more we will get the conversation started. Take care.